Hello, meat bags. You are currently in my cabinet where I keep all of these things. First, there's this one. And there's also this one. Oh, and I actually also have this one. And I think this one is actually made out of cast iron. And this one has little ridges on it, you know, to make your food look and taste like it has been freshly grilled. So maybe you can tell that all of these are different, but they all basically behave in the same way, right? So I have you in the cabinet because it has occurred to me that just like pots, people can look different but behave in the same way. But with enough self-awareness and self-love, you can determine which pot is right for you based on what you need it for. You know, we kind of have to think of these pots, or these people, so to speak, as just choosing the experience that we want. And some pots, maybe like this one, will give you an experience that you maybe don't enjoy, while other pots, like this one, might be just right. This whole pot analogy came to me a couple of days ago after I was leaving a date. So let's pretend my date's name was Bim Bob. Bim Bob. Bim Bob was actually quite a nice guy. He was an attorney, he was well-traveled, and he actually used punctuation like commas and periods in his text messages. But even though Bim Bob was very nice and had all of these other positive qualities that I would love to have in a partner, he also exhibited some much more important qualities that I think would not make us a great match. First, Bim Bob seemed to be in complete and utter competition with me for some reason. Anything that I said that I had done, he had somehow done better. Oh, so Bim Bob, you think that you are better than me? What? Well, Bim Bob, I don't know if you're watching, you probably aren't, because you don't know anything about me. But Bim Bob, have you ever potentially helped over 3,000 women stop their heavy menstrual bleeding by sharing everything that you have learned about adenomyosis and fibroids? Have you, Bim Bob? Have you done that? Have you done that, Bim Bob? And have you ever mentioned that people can find the link to that video that I just referenced in the description box below? And have you ever asked people to subscribe, please, to your YouTube channel? Have you, Bim Bob? Have you? Secondly, Bim Bob told me that he had been to therapy and that the reason that he was divorced is because his wife didn't think that he made enough money. Now, I'm not saying that this could not be true. However, Bim Bob, I'm on to your shenanigans. Oh, is that right, Bim Bob? Oh, I see how you're attempting to control the narrative of your situation by telling me what you think I love to hear. I know that you think that I love to hear that you've been to therapy, but you're also essentially letting your true colors out. You're letting them show by basically blaming your whole divorce entirely on your wife. Your ex one, that is. Good job pretending to take accountability for your own actions and for how you played a role in the dissolution of your marriage. You deserve a fake Oscar. Third, in every story Bim Bob told me about his life, guess who was the hero? He was. First, he had saved some of his clients from financial ruin, which might be true. Next, he was also apparently the best dad on the planet to ever live and breathe to his kids. That's what you're supposed to do, Jim Bob. And you know, so forth, so forth. Other I'm the hero type stories. You get the idea. So all of these are behaviors that I kind of would have glossed over in the past. But now, even though I'm kind of making fun of him in this video, I truly don't judge Jim Bob. But I did decide to use his behavior that I've seen before as information to help me make a decision about what I am going to do. And that information helped me to basically save us both a lot of time. In other words, I can use Jim Bob's behaviors, very egotistical behaviors, on our first date to help me understand that the Jim Bob pot, or I think there was this one, right? The Jim Bob pot is perhaps not the one that I am looking for. And that is okay. And you know what? I feel okay about making this decision because I have worked so hard for years in and out of therapy to get my own ego in check to where first I'm able to admit that, hey, I was maybe not right about this guy. My perception of him was not the right one. It takes a lot of getting your own ego in check to be able to admit that basically you were wrong about your first perception of the person that you had before you went out on a date with them. But through therapy, I am definitely able to say that, hey, girl, this not the right pot, and that's okay. And by me having my own ego in check, I am able to see very clearly when a man is feeding his ego more than he has fed his mouth over our dinner date. And if you have ever kind of thought that all men are the same or all women are the same, obviously the story that I'm telling you is from my perspective, and I am a straight cisgendered woman who dates straight cisgendered men, right? But these tips are applicable to no matter who it is. But if you have noticed that you feel like, or if you have thought, I keep picking the same people, I keep picking the same women, men, whoever you like to be with, if you think that everybody is all the same, it is time for you honestly to get in touch with your own ego, check yourself, and see why you might be picking, interacting with, wasting time on the same people over and over and over. Because, like I said before, it can be the same thing, just in different packages, right? And that's definitely how I felt during my date, because when I was talking to Jim Bob, I kept having flashbacks of another person that I dated before, and things did not work out. That person is not a bad person, but that person was not the person for me. So instead of going through this all over again, even though I know that, everybody is different, the experiences can be different, blah, 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 I know that. But once you have been through a situation, when it comes again with awareness, you will be able to determine, oh, this has all of the markings of this other situation I've been in, and I'm going to choose to not put myself through this situation again. You can do that with some self-awareness. So basically, I'm saying that if you are looking to cook 10 servings of spaghetti, this is not the pot that you choose. If you want to boil an egg, this is the pot you can choose. Or you could choose this one. But you have to be able to be honest enough with yourself in order to say, hey, this is not what my goal is, and this what I'm seeing, the behavior that I'm seeing in this person does not align with the goals that I'm trying to achieve. And that's okay. It doesn't make them a bad person. It doesn't make you a good person. It doesn't make anybody anything, really. You just have to be honest with yourself and pick the pot for you. So let's talk about that. So here's how I have learned to look for behaviors from other people when I go on a date or when I first meet them to help me determine if an interaction or a prolonged interaction with them would be a good fit really for me. Number one, like I just mentioned, I had to become honest with myself. If you lie to yourself, your whole world is just going to be some weird lie. And why do that? With the cost of inflation, you're gonna lie to yourself for what? This doesn't make any sense. So I had to really sit down, get honest with myself, and think about and write down what I am looking for first. I had to decide what I will and will not tolerate in a relationship with another person, whether it's platonic or romantic. And I basically had to understand and be honest with myself about what experiences I am seeking to have in my life. And some people will be aligned with those wants and some won't, and that's okay. Either way. For me, one of the main experiences that I am looking to have is to be in a relationship with a person that I feel is very open and honest with their communications with me. And in my experience, a really egotistical person is never going to become like this magically honest person who's going to be very open with you and be vulnerable with you. And I can say this because of two things. One, I used to be much more identified with my own ego, and I was never able to have the level of like vulnerable relationship that I want with other people because I was too busy trying to protect the image that I had of myself in my head and the image that I wanted to project to other people. So even though I was not like a sociopathic, narcissistic liar, because I had such a strong connection to my own ego, I prioritized keeping myself safe and keeping my little projection perfect and stuff. And that made it impossible for me to have the kind of connection that I want. You may know someone who that takes it to another level. Like sometimes people will become just liars. Every other word out of their mouth is just a complete fabrication, and it can kind of just go from there to where people will lie about who they are, what they want, what their desires are, how much money they make, what family they came from, what job they have, whatever, in order to project some image of them that's not true. So that's not what I am anymore. I am not looking for someone who is wrapped up in their own ego. So I had to get honest. I had to fix myself first, which I've done. And so now that I've done that, when I go out and meet people, I already know, like, hey, I'm not looking for an egotistical, crazy person. I am looking for someone who is ready to be vulnerable and just be a good friend to me. And to me, that's through honest communication. The second thing I've learned to do is to just listen. I don't know if it's just me or not, but people, if you listen to them, people will tell you who they are. They will talk to you. You will be able to very easily pick up on clues about who they are. So for example, one thing that I learned a long time ago is to always listen to how a person refers to their former partners. So like if you're dating a guy and he is like, oh, my ex-wife's a total bitch or something like that, don't go out with him. If you're looking for a man who is going to be respectful towards you and who's not misogynistic, the guy who calls his ex-wife or the mother of his kids or something, who calls her dirty names, is probably not going to be that guy. Even if, there's some like really great reason for him to call her those things, or for a person to refer to another person in derogatory terms. When they have first met you, you would think that they would try to show that they are respectful. So if they are not, especially when you first meet them, just keep that in mind, because you know what happens? When you guys break up, you know who's now the crazy bitch? It's you. you and the other girl that he was dating before. So just keep that in mind. But in order to find out that information, you have to listen. And I mean listen like with your intuition. Deeply listen to what the person is saying, how they're saying it, and they will give you all the clues that you need about who they are as a person. The third thing I've learned to do is to not judge people. So in my funny scenario with my date, Jim Bob, I was not judging Jim Bob on what he decided to share with me and how he decided to share it. I was just there to listen and get information. I, of course, participated in the conversation. He knows things about me now, blah, blah, blah. But when you go out on a date, and as you are also pursuing your own like mental health journey, or you're trying to better yourself, the thing that you should do the most is always keep in mind that even though you're trying to get better, or you may have some higher understanding of something than another person, it doesn't make you better. It doesn't make you a better person. I'm not better than Jim Bob. You're not better than whoever you're going on a date with and eating pasta with or whatever. The point is not to make this person feel bad or to belittle them or whatever. The point is to get the information and then use it to help you determine if that person would be an honestly good match for you. It's not about judging or saying that, oh, he was such a dumbass. Maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. Doesn't matter. Just get the information and be ready to just use it to determine if he's a good fit or not. That's it. That's it. Unless you find out something really horrible about this person, you don't have to talk about how horrible they are and why you didn't want to go on a second date and blah, blah, blah. You don't have to do all of that. That's not your job to judge other people. It's your job to determine what you need and try to find who would be a good match for it. That's it. So I hope you enjoyed my little pot analogy. I kind of like using props. What do you think? Do you like the props? And what do you think about this topic? How many times have you accidentally, on purpose, dated the same person over and over again? Don't be ashamed. I want to know. I'm nosy, and I've already told you all my secrets. So drop a comment down below and tell me what you think. Tell me your experience with this, and tell me if you are ready to just be really involved in deeply listening with your intuition the next time you go out on a date or the next time you meet somebody new, because these rules can definitely apply to your platonic relationships too. So I hope that this was helpful, and like I mentioned before, make sure to subscribe, okay? Let the YouTube algorithm know that I did not go on a second date with Jim Bob. If you click subscribe, they'll know. If you click like, they'll know even faster. And if you do both, then you're amazing. All right, I will see you in the next video. And until next time, take care of yourself, my lovely meatbag friends, and namaste.